हेलो दोस्तों, बिगनर्स माइंड में आपका स्वागत है। और अभी हम कर रहे हैं चैप्टर नंबर 8। 7 चैप्टर इससे पहले कंप्लीट हो गए हैं इस क्लास के, तो नहीं देखे तो प्लेलिस्ट बना रखी है, देख लेना जा करके। हाउ द लैंड बिकम्स सैक्रेड, यानी कि पवित्र। इथर, एयर, फायर, वाटर, अर्थ, प्लैनेट्स, ऑल क्रिएचर्स, डायरेक्शंस, ट्रीज एंड प्लांट्स, rivers and seas are organs of the Supreme Lord's body. Bhagavad Purana. What is sacredness? Sacredness can have many meanings. In the limited context of this chapter, sacredness is finding something of deep religious or spiritual significance, worthy of respect and reverence, holy or divine. But what is this something? It can be special location or shrine that evokes such deep feelings, high thoughts, or emotions. It can also be, as we will see in this chapter, a journey of a special kind, often called a pilgrimage. The route the journey takes, or even the very land covered. Sacredness, therefore, is not just connected with religion and spirituality, but also with geography, all sorts of traditions, and in the case of India, with something more that we will discover soon. Let us focus on sacred place first. You will find that almost every school of thought and religion in India has its own sacred places. The places in these pictures are revered by followers of Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and Zoroastrianism, religions that originated outside India. People visit or congregate in these places for prayer and worship. Followers from other faiths also visit them, as can be seen at the Dargah Sharif of Ajmer, Rajasthan, or the Velkani Church in Tamil Nadu. People go on pilgrimages to these shrines on special occasions. Pilgrimage, a journey to a sacred place that is significant within a religion or belief system. Shrine, a place regarded as holy because of its associations with the divine, a sacred relies or a spiritual figure. Relies a part of a saint or other spiritual figures, bodies, or sometimes to one of their belongings kept as an object of reverence. Naturally, when we turn to religions that originated in India, we find that they have many more sacred sites. In the case of Buddhism, those are often places that were visited by the Buddha or where he relics are kept.
Relics.
क्या मतलब हो जाएगा इसका? अवशेष जो होते हैं. Among them is the Great Sputa and Sanchi, Madhya Pradesh, which is a relic stoop. Who saw this in the chapter on the rise of empires, and the Mahabodhi stoop in Bodh Gaya, Bihar, where, according to Buddhist tradition, the Buddha attained enlightenment. They are important sites for pilgrims. Bodh Gaya, or for instance, receives more than 4 million visitors every year. In Sikhism, Takht are seats or centers of spiritual authority. For example, the Takht Shri Patna Sahib in Patna, the Akal Takht, part of the Golden Temple at Amritsar, figure 8.3, and Takht Shri Keshagara Sahib at Anandpur. 6 aspire to undertake pilgrimage to these places at least once in their lifetimes, as they are associated with important Sikh gurus and therefore have special significance. In addition, Sikh tradition records pilgrimages conducted by several gurus, such as Guru Nanak, to places like Haridwar, Prayag, Mathura, Varanasi, Ayodhya, Puri, and many more, besides a few Muslim shrines. India has for ages past been a country of pilgrimages all over the country. You find these ancient places from Badrinath, Kedarnath, and Amarnath, high up in the snowy Himalayas down to Kanyakumari in the south. What has drawn our people from the south to the north and from the north to the south in these great pilgrimages? It is the feeling of one country and one culture. Jawaharlal Nehru, 1961. Tirth, literally a place where one can cross a river or a body of water. Symbolically, it becomes a place where one can cross from the ordinary worldly life to a higher spiritual life. Such places are held in high reverence and regarded as sacred. Pilgrimages. Many Indians undertake Tirtha yatras and pilgrimages to various sacred sites, tirthas, during their lifetime. This ancient and continuous tradition of pilgrimages is not just a physical journey but also an ancient journey that requires a specified code of conduct. For at least 3000 years, and with no modern means of transportation available, Indians have been crisscrossing the subcontinent, resulting in its entire geography being considered sacred. We will return to this soon. Here is an expert from the writings of Dharampal, a historian and thinker. I was traveling from Gwalior to Delhi when I met a group of people, about 12 of them, some 3 or 4 women and 7 or 8 men. They said that they had been on pilgrimage 3 months long up to Rameshwaram, among other places. They came from 2 different villages north to Lucknow. They had various handles of things and some earthen pots with them. They had taken all the necessities for their food, atta, ghee, sugar, with them. I asked them, "You are going to Delhi now?" "Yes." They replied, "You will stop in Delhi?" "No, we will only have to change the trains there. We are going to Haridwar." "We don't have time. We have to go to Haridwar and then we have to get back home." In the Jain tradition, the Tirthas are associated with places where the Tirthankars attained liberation or where significant events of their lives occurred. Tirthankars, literally some who makes a Tirtha, that is, who guides a crossing from ordinary to higher life. In Jainism, the Tirthankars are the supreme teachers of Dharma. Preachers मतलब कि
Preachers.
प्रचारक. Trees, ponds, hills, and mountains that the Tirthankars visited on or meditated at are also considered sacred. Examples of such places include Mount Abu, Girinar, and the Shatrunjaya Hills in Saurashtra, Gujarat. Another example is the pilgrimage to Sabrimala Temple, Kerala, dedicated to the deity Ayappa, which draws over 10 million devotees every year. This hilltop shrine was traditionally reached by an immensely difficult trek through hills and forest. Such a challenging approach, common to many hilltop or mountain shrines all, all over the country, symbolize the difficulties of the inner path, with natural landmarks along the route being considered sacred. Pandhar, Pandharpur Wari, a 800-year-old tradition in Maharashtra. Wari means a pilgrimage that is held regularly, in this case annually, Pilgrimage walk in a large group for 21 days to the famous Vitova temple in Pandharpur. More sacred sites. Hindu and many folk and tribal belief systems go further. In grade 6, we learned that in such belief systems, people regard elements of nature such as mountains, rivers, trees, plants, and animals, and sometimes stone too, as sacred. In Hinduism, for instance, this includes countless geographical sites or features of nature such as specific mountains, rivers, and forests, which are regarded as particularly divine and are worshipped as deities. Many rivers are regarded as devis, while some species of trees, animals, and plants are particularly holy. In this image, Vishnu, in the form of his boar avatar, crushes a demon and saves Bhudevi, Mother Earth, shown here sitting on his elbow, from the Belur temple, Karnataka. This tradition comes from the perception of a divine presence in all of nature. Ultimately, the whole of planet Earth is considered sacred. She is Mother Earth or Bhudevi. Here are a few more examples of such traditions. The Niyam Dongar Hill in the Niyamagiri range of Jharkhand is sacred to the Dongriya Kon tribe. They believe that the hill is the ab- abode of Niyam Raja, the supreme deity who provides everything they need for sustenance. Cutting trees here is prohibited and considered a sign of disrespect to the deity. In the early 2000s, the government of Sikkim identified several sacred mountains, caves, lakes, rocks, and hot springs that were to be protected against all forms of damage. In the Nilgiris of Tamil Nadu, the Todas, a tribal community, regard many mountain peaks as sacred and associate them with their gods. To them, the sense of sacredness extends to many plants, which often become part of their rituals. Shola forest, wetlands, and even specific stones and individual trees. Becoming aware of sacred geography, some sacred places are marked on the map. Figure 8.6 given on the next page. Though spread all over India, they are also interconnected. For example, some Hindus aspire to do the Char Dham Yatra, and those four sites appear to have been deliberately located in the southern, northern, eastern, and western corners of India. A similar aspiration exists with respect to the 12 Jyotirlingas, which are considered highly auspicious. The 51 Shakti Pitas too cover the entire map of India, even parts of present day Bangladesh and Pakistan, and there are many more regional networks. The 12 Jyotirlingas are sacred Shrinis dedicated to Shiva, a major deity of Hinduism. Each Shrini has its own unique mythology and name. These networks crisscross India's length and breadth, creating a sacred geography. As a result, the land itself becomes sacred. There is a story about 51 Shakti Pitas. Shakti, the divine mother in the form of Sati, and her consort Shiva were insulted by her father. An angry Sati immolated herself. Shiva was so livid that he took her body and refused to follow the last rites. Shiva's anger was dangerous for the world and the cosmos. So Vishnu used his chakra to cut up Sati body. The Shakti Pitas are the places across the subcontinent where the body parts of the Divine Mother fell in one by one. The symbol behind the story is clear. The whole land becomes the body of the Divine Mother. While visiting major sacred places connected to their respective faiths, pilgrims would naturally cover the geography of India. They would come across diverse languages, customs, clothing, and foods along the way, but would notice the commonalities too. A map showing a few networks of traditional tirthas. Why did people travel such long distance? Apart from religious motivations, some like merchants and traders travel to exchange goods, Others travel to discuss, debate, and popularize their beliefs or to learn and study from eminent teachers in different parts of the country. इस पेंसिल को पता नहीं क्या हो गया. चल जा. Country, however, though they were traveling for different purposes, their routes often converged. Discussion and debates, sharing of goods, experiences, and tales enriched everyone. New ideas emerged, and old ones were adapted. This complex process became a major factor in the cultural integration of the Indian subcontinent. Sacred ecology. Tirthas are usually located on the banks of a river or a lake, in a forest or on a mountain. As we saw above, the natural landscape itself is the seen or perceived as sacred space or punya kshetra. This perception has helped us to protect and preserve nature since we are not distinct from her. So, geography, culture, and spirituality fuse together in these kshetras. Rivers and Sangams, confluence of rivers. Rivers have been worshipped in India since Vedic times. The Nadishti Stuka of a Rig Veda is hymn Stuka in praise of Stuti, reverse Nadi, that invokes 19 major rivers of ancient northwest India. Even today, many rituals involving water invokes the presence of some of the most important rivers of India. Gange, Chahe, Yamuna, Chaheva, Godavari, Saravasti, Narmade, Sindhu, Kaveri, Jal Samin, Sindhim Kuru. Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Shravasti, Narmada, Sindhu, and Kaveri, may you manifest in this water. Those rivers have been lifelines for the Indian civilizations. Their sources, tributaries, and the places they follow through are often regarded as a sacred too and are visited by many pilgrims. In local languages, these rivers are referred to with respect, for instance, Gangaji or Yamunaji. Prayagraj hosts the Kumbh Mela every 6 years. Prayagraj is located at the confluence of three rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, and the visible Saravasti. A few years ago, UNESCO listed the Kumbh Mela as an intangible heritage of the world. An estimated 660 million people participated in the Kumbh Mela of 2025. What proportion of the population of India is this? The Kumbh Mela originates in the legend of Amrita Mantham, the Devas and Asuras, that is, more or less, gods or demons, traditional enemies, for once joined forces in churning the cosmic ocean to extract Amrita, the divine nectar that would give them immortality. To prevent the Asuras from getting the Amrita, Vishnu, in the form of Mohini, a beautiful lady, snatched the pitcher or kumbha which contained the Amrita. In the process, a few drops fell over four places: Haridwar, Prayagraj, Nasik, and Ujjain. These are the places where the Kumbh Mela has been held, and a dip in the rivers there during a prescribed period is considered most auspicious. Mountains and forest. All over the world, mountains are often associated with legends, deities, or heroes. Also, mountains are seen as a symbolic gateway from earth to heaven because of their height. That is why many tirthas and temples in India are located on hilltops, as the physical journey to these peaks is seen as a symbolic journey to reach the divine. People would undertake arduous walks through mountain trails to those sites and shrines, which tested not only their physical abilities but also their mental strength. Today, such places are often accessible through roads and other modes of transport. Mount Kailash, Vaishno Devi Temple, Katra, Trivindr Trivenmalai, Tamil Nadu, Lord Balaji, Tirumala Hills. Trees and forest and sacred groves. In many parts of India, trees are adorned सजी हुई,
adorned,
adorned with offerings like turmeric and kumkum. One species, अरे यार, of fig tree commonly called people, bobiri or bodhi tree, ashwatha in Sanskrit, is sacred to Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism. In fact, its botanical name is Ficus religious, literally in Latin, the religious or sacred fig tree. The tree in Mahabodhi temple at Bodh Gaya is often cited has a direct descent of the original tree under which, according to Buddhist tradition, the Buddha attained enlightenment, has the names Bodhi tree and Bodh Gaya. In grade 6, we read about the two epics of India, the Mahabharata and Ramayana. These texts have vivid descriptions of pilgrimage undertaken and places visited, and of sacred rivers, forests, and mountains. In almost every region of India, numerous rural and tribal traditions claim that the heroes of these sects passed through their locality, with shrines often marking such passages. Such legends allowed a wide diversity of communities to make the two epics their own. A shrine in Bastar, Chhattisgarh, celebrating Rama's passing through the area. A seal from Mohenjo-daro. Observe this seal from Mohenjo-daro. Can you recognize the leaves at the top? As you can see, the peepal tree has been an important part of India's cultural geography for millennia. Over time, many rural and tribal communities across India decided to protect and preserve some natural forests from harmful activities such as hunting, tree felling, or mining. They saw those forests as the abodes of deities, for example, Rinkinyu or Basa in Meghalaya. Such special forests are called sacred groves in English. See the table below for a few names in regional languages, and thanks to their sacred status have come to shelter great biodiversity of flora and fauna. Many sacred groves are also home to small water bodies and thus help in water conservation. There were many boundaries of many there were many thousands of sacred groves in India. Sadly, these numbers have been shrinking as people have started encroaching on them for various purposes, from agriculture to industry. Still, sacred groves continue to be protected in many regions of India. Kalki Temple, Mulsi, Maharashtra, Maflong, Shillong. From the sacred groups of the Bills, Udyan Kudu Kudu, Kurum Bai Ramkondon, Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, local chronicles highlight the relationship between the deity of a sacred group, nature, and humans. One such chronicles in the Tanvanju district states that the group's deities protect fruit bats, which are regarded as a sacred. Spotting one of them is considered auspicious. Besides, bats play a critical role in pollination of flowers and in dispersal of seeds. Sacred groups thus evolve a harmonious relationship between the deity, the ecosystem, and humans. From pilgrimage to trade, pilgrims encounter traders and merchants along their journey. This interaction benefits both groups. Pilgrims need various items which traders can provide. As a result, the pilgrimage routes and the trade routes often overlap. Some traders might also double as pilgrims, taking their wires to distant towns and cities while visiting sacred sites and shrines. What routes did those traders use in ancient India? Revisit the map of trade routes 5.5 in this chapter. The rise of empires. Uttarapatha was a major trade route connecting the north, western, and eastern parts of the subcontinent. The Dakshinapath went from Kushambi through Ujjain to Paithan, Prasthana, Pratisthana. As you know, some of the goods traded along these routes included precious stone like shell and pearls, coins, gold, and diamonds, as well as cotton, spices, and sandalwood. Sacred geography beyond India. The concept and practice of sacred geography are not unique to India. Ancient Greece had many sacred landmarks from mountains to sacred groves. The Native Americans used to have a special bond with nature, which they viewed as sacred. The Maoris, the indigenous people of New Zealand, regard the Taranaki Maunga mountain as their ancestor and therefore has sacred after many representations by the Maoris. A law recently granted this mountain the right rights and responsibilities of a human being, acknowledgement of the Maori worldview. The elders of the community represents the voice of mountain or river threatened with destruction. This ensures that the sacred places are not exploited and degenerated, restoring and conserving the sacred. Look carefully at these pictures of places and animals that are considered sacred. The Yamuna in the north and the Mahanadi in the east or the Kaveri in the south are all sacred rivers. How come they have become so polluted? Are there sacred places in your locality or region that have been similarly polluted or degraded by human activity? Whose responsibility is it to preserve the sanctity of our sacred places? Discussed in class. A harmonious relationship that once existed between people and the sacred geography sustained Indian civilization over millennia, creating values that were shared all over the subcontinent, but today it is under great strain. Sacred geography continues to be relevant today when there is in our relationship between nature, when a river is overexploited to the point of disappearance or a sacred mountain is challenged with competing ideas of development. People have spoken up to protect their environment, their deities and values at a time when sustainability has become a global issue. A worldview that embeds sacred geography has a significant contribution to make. Before we move on, all religions in India have their sacred places dotted over the landscape. In Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, such places are usually associated with some of the great figures in these belief systems. Hinduism has dense networks of pilgrimage sites covering the entire geography of India. The practice of pilgrimage is interwoven antistapit
Interwoven.
with the lives of people as it serves the individual development and spiritual growth, but also the socio-economic purposes of trade expansion and pan-Indian cultural integration. In many Hindu tribal and folk traditions, the very land is perceived as sacred. Our sacred places are being polluted owing to widespread neglect and lack of concern. It is our duty to protect our national heritage as our constitution also reminds us. और इसके साथ ये चैप्टर भी हो जाता है हमारा समाप्त.